This is Mike with On Point Preparedness. You're not going to believe this. Well, I know literally some of you are not going to believe this, but anyone who has eyes to see will definitely understand where I'm coming from on this one. I ran into an article on Facebook and it had this title, "Why was Kim Jong-un's letter to Trump so big?" So remember, one of the ambassadors from North Korea to the United States came to the White House so that they could talk to Donald Trump about this summit. And if you look on Google, just say, "Why is the letter so big?" or similar key searches, you'll see that there's tons and tons and tons of articles talking about this letter being so big. And so this is a big story. They want you to see the comedy in this letter being so big. Now, look at this letter. So here's the meeting. And he's handing him this gigantic letter. And Trump proceeds to hold it in front of his waist and show everyone how big, ridiculously big, this letter is. And all these articles are saying, well, why? Why? And they say, well, it's just part of the meticulous steps taken by North Korea to present Kim as a legitimate international statesman who is reasonable and capable of negotiating solutions and making deals. Other websites say, oh, this is a big deal, so it deserved a big letter. Do you see the symbolism here, though? I've done a lot of symbolism on Trump. And check this out. The history and meaning of the Freemasonic apron. You remember this photograph of Shaq? You see the Freemasonic white apron? They sell them on Google. Go to Google Shopping. Masonic aprons. Lambskin or duck cloth is in the exact shape of a white letter. And here's Mr. Trump holding it right above his waist side as a Freemasonic white apron. Pretty interesting, right? Maybe he doesn't know what the heck he's doing. But for one, the mainstream media is saying this is incredibly odd. No one really knows the reason. It's out of place. Donald then takes a photograph with it and proceeds to hold it backwards just so it's in the exact shape of a Freemasonic apron. Let's look at the Masonic apron, because this is interesting. So the Freemasons, they allow you to be any quote-unquote religion. They're truly part of this one world Babylonian religion where they believe in aspects of every single religion. So you can see here in the 3rd chapter of Genesis, these words are written, and the eyes of them were both opened when Adam and Eve took the fruit, and they knew they were both naked and sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. So this is what the Masons are saying is the origin of their aprons. It goes back to the story of Genesis and the fall. And what I found interesting here was that they say these aprons aren't just invented by Masons. Obviously, they say it goes all the way back to the beginning of creation with Adam and Eve, but they point out that all throughout ancient culture, there were aprons. Particularly, these were for religious and ceremonial purposes, and it was made of white lambskin. And it was only until later, when you got into the modern Freemasonic aprons, that they started putting prints and designs and colors on them. So truly, this is the modern aprons. Truly, and as they articulate down here, it was intended on being just a pure white apron of lambskin. Thus, it will be seen that our apron is a very honorable garment, one that we should treasure. It is an apron made of lambskin, pure white, without fault or stain, the color of the soul as the mortal man sees it. You think it is any coincidence that they would send him a letter this big, which is not typical, and that every single mainstream media outlet would be talking about it with a stupid rationale for what it is. And it truly is the Masonic apron, a representation of the Masonic apron. Again, some of you who don't have eyes to see will say this is absolutely ridiculous and it's a coincidence. But I've done a lot of videos on Trump. I still maintain he's not a true Christian. There's multiple videos where he has publicly said that he has not asked God for forgiveness, that he just tries to go out there and do a better job. This guy is definitely a wolf in sheep's clothing. A lot of you aren't going to like to hear that. I'm not saying that Hillary was a better answer or option, but you have to realize that prophecy is in the making. And this guy is not the person who's going to rewrite the Bible, because it has already been written of how the end of days will be. He's just fulfilling his part, and he is not God's man. Not saying that he can't be saved in the future, but right now he is not God's man. And time and time again, you just see these things coming up over and over and over. Anyways, this is Mike with On Point Preparedness. Really interested in your comments on this one. This was a little bit of a shocker for me. I'll see you guys later.